women are 14 times more likely to lose their lives in a climate disaster compared to men. You cannot have an infinite economy on a finite planet. Waste is the new gold. You see, there's no waste in nature.
Yes.
Every output is an input for something. You don't see waste created by nature. We all have the power of votes,
Yes.
wallets, and our voices with us. We are destroying our home. You know, our planet is our home.
Yes. Hi, Rajan, and welcome to the About Her Show, a show where we largely get trailblazing women to share the story of their lives with us. To tell us about their journeys, successes, failures, ups and downs, all of it. And this enables them to showcase themselves, and it also helps us inspire other women. But then that's not all. We also get men on the show. Men who champion such trailblazing women because we believe that for a truly gender inclusive world, men and women need to be allies in this journey. These are the men who believe that if they partner with women, they'll create not only better workplaces, but happier families, better communities, better worlds. So, therefore, it is always very enlightening, to listen to the views of men on, of course, what they do, their occupation, profession, whatever it is. But other than that, yes, their views on women, which we weave into our questions, right? So, once again, a very, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Sangeeta. And I feel very honored and privileged to be invited by you. Um, Looking forward to our discussion.
Well, the honor is all ours, but yes, all right. So, let's get started. So, as I understand, you spent nearly 30 years in tech before pivoting to climate. So, an obvious question that what was the moment you knew you had to make the shift?
I think it was COVID.
Okay.
COVID gave a pause to all of us to reflect on our lives and see what direction have we been taking and where do we want to head. And I had been bothered with air pollution and climate change living in Delhi,
Mm-hmm.
but really didn't do anything much about it. And then COVID came, and I started thinking, you know, it's worth putting my time and energy into something that I care about and which will probably do more good to the world than whatever I was doing at that time. So that really gave me the push to start looking at climate.
I think that was the time when a lot of us started actually rethinking, relooking at a lot of things because it did give us the time to reflect.
That's true.
Now, what we've done after that, I don't know, but at that point, really, we had, time to pause and think and reflect. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, of course, climate change is something which impacts everybody. There is, I mean, that way it is gender agnostic. But my question is addressed, for the women that women are, I think, hit hardest by climate change, but they rarely write the policy. Tell me what changes when women lead?
Uh, I'll answer your question in two parts.
Okay.
The first one, I completely agree. Undoubtedly, women face the brunt of climate change. In fact, there's a recent UN study
Mm-hmm.
where they say that women are 14 times more likely to lose their lives in a climate disaster compared to men.
Oh my
And that is
God.
because they are the primary caregivers. And if a climate disaster strikes, they are busy looking after other people before they evacuate themselves.
Right.
So
Right.
you understand what they face.
Correct.
In addition to that, if you look at the developing world, and in fact, even within the developing world, you look at the rural economies, women are the primary people responsible for food, for fuel, and for water,
Right. Right.
right? And all these three are getting impacted by climate change. That
Okay.
means women have to work harder. And second, women also face the wrath if these things are not available at home. And you know how rural societies are many a times,
Hmm.
right? So therefore, the pressure on them is really high because of this climate change, right? So we agree that they do face more hardship and more pressure because of climate change. The second part of your question was, but they don't write the policy,
Yeah.
right? I differ slightly
Hmm.
on it. They may not be writing the policy, but they certainly influence the policy or make things happen.
Okay.
If you look at the climate or the Paris Agreement, the central figure behind it was Christina Figueres,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Who who behind the scenes was kind of making things happen,
Right.
right?
Right.
You look at Greta Thunberg,
Yeah.
13-year-old when she started. Um, she kind of pushed a lot of governments, other responsible people to start thinking about climate change. She brought it center stage,
Right.
right? You look at India, most of the activists, climate activists, are women, actually. So behind the scenes, they are kind of doing their bit, definitely.
Okay. So they may not be writing the policy as you're saying, but they definitely get to influence it, and that probably
Absolutely.
brings the change.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely. And
But
I,
that
I
is,
agree
yeah.
with you that, I'm sorry,
No, no, go ahead.
I agree with you that they should start writing the policy as well,
Right.
right? And I think that will happen. You can see things moving in that direction.
Right. But 14% was quite a hard-hitting figure because honestly, I was not aware of it. I mean, that is like quite a bit.
I was surprised too.
Yeah. All right. So tell me, all your money, one Indian sector, next 10 years, what's the bet?
Don't have too much of money.
All right. Okay.
But if I was to take a bet, I would take it on clean tech
Okay.
because if you see, global economy has been built on fossil fuel energy,
Yeah.
right? And we now understand the havoc it's creating in terms of climate change, right?
Yes.
Therefore, if we were to save the planet from climate crisis, we will have to revamp or restructure or orchestrate our economy, right?
Right.
Which means that what we built will have to be dismantled and a new economic structure or infrastructure rather on clean energy will have to be built, right? And it's
Mm.
not just the the power or the electricity which needs to shift from fossil fuels to clean energy. All the downstream industries will also have to be revamped or changed. So I think I would really bet on clean tech.
Yes. Need of the hour, actually. If we really want
Yeah,
to believe that there is a future for us and for the coming generations, this has to be
I
what we need to do.
completely agree. Yeah.
All right. So, coming to your book, of course, I've read it, I know all about it. So, but tell me, your book is Backstage Climate. So, tell me, what is happening backstage that most people watching the crisis have no idea about?
Uh, there's a lot happening,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a mixed bag.
Right.
There's a lot of good happening, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
Our scientists, our technologists are working really hard to come up with solutions. You know, at the same time, you have entrepreneurs who are, jumping and, starting companies, starting projects that can address this. You then have, you know, all the venture capitalists pouring in their money in
Mm-hmm.
this sector. And you have uh, quite a few good-hearted, well-thinking policymakers who are trying to frame policy accordingly, right? So the momentum is catching up, or was catching up until very recently, when we've seen this new world or new geopolitical world emerge, right? And that's kind of put things on the back foot,
Right.
right? uh, Many nations who had started committing their budgets towards climate change have now retracted that.
Hmm.
And those budgets are instead going into either defense or building up their supply chains. So uh, climate change has kind of lost its place in the priority list, right?
Yes.
I hope it comes back, right? So yeah, in a nutshell, that's really what's going on
Right.
backstage right now.
And I guess we only have politicians to blame for that all over the world because this is what it is, right? I mean, defense and winning wars is more important. So, pretty short term, in that sense.
Unfortunately, and it's happening simultaneously world over.
Yes,
If
yes,
you see, there is a rightist movement everywhere in the world,
right.
and we're getting a bag full of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So coming to another woman-centric question. Now you, of course, you interact with people, who have a lot to do with, working for climate change. So tell me, what have women-led clean tech founders taught you that men in the room did not or never did?
Uh, Women have an instinct for preservation, for
Mm-hmm,
conservation.
mm-hmm,
Women are more sensitive to nature. Women are more sensitive to human suffering.
mm,
And that's a tremendous combination. It's a right? I remember way back in probably early 2000s, or in that decade of 2000, 2010. uh, we used to have these uh, companies for auto rentals,
mm.
Avis and Hertz and others. And the competition between them used to be who offers bigger cars,
Yes.
right? Because, or who has a better fleet of cars. And then came a company called Zipcar,
Hmm.
which was started by a woman entrepreneur called Robin Chase, if I remember,
Hmm.
right? And she turned the table upside down, bringing in very small cars, which would be parked in parking lots, and they were app operated. You could go pick up a car and go and drive anywhere and keep it back in another parking lot. In hindsight, when I think about it, it was a very low carbon footprint initiative. Small cars mean less damage to the environment, not only in their production, but in their day-to-day running as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
That's what women naturally and instinctively think. And I'm sharing this with you because early 2000s, climate wasn't a very big thing.
No,
I
it
mean, you and I were not thinking about climate, but instinctively, this lady did something which was climate friendly. So that's what women teach us.
Yeah, I guess somewhere because you are as even a homemaker or otherwise thinking about conserving, preserving resources, making the
Yeah,
best
yeah,
use out of what is available, even if you go back traditionally. That's
yeah.
what women do. So yeah, maybe it comes out from there. It's their inherent
I guess
nature.
so. Yeah, and
Yeah,
then there could be other examples of
yeah,
it
yeah,
as well.
definitely, definitely. Yeah. So tell me, coming to the climate action labs. Now, this is all about systemic change. So tell me, can you give us an example of a system that looks fine but is quietly broken?
Many, but uh,
Okay.
let's talk about agriculture.
Okay.
You know, all of us would instinctively think that something as natural as agriculture
Hmm.
uh, would be really nice for the nature, for the
Hmm.
environment, for climate, right? But isn't it isn't really so, you know, because each time we clear the land for agriculture, we either stash the trees or plants or we burn them.
Yeah, yeah.
Either way, you're adding greenhouse gases or carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which is responsible for climate change.
Correct.
Then the next step is you till the land, right? And when you till the land, you bringing or exposing microbes that are kind of in the soil to the atmosphere.
Mm.
So they start decomposing, and decomposition leads again to addition of carbon dioxide and methane into the atmosphere. Then you sow the seeds, right? And you kind of wait for the crops to grow. And for many crops like rice, you flood the fields. And
Yes.
when you flood the fields, uh, the microbes inside, because they are covered with water, they kind of undergo fermentation, in simple words,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that gives out methane. And
Yes.
methane is 80 times as potent as carbon dioxide in its climate deterioration capabilities. So
Wow.
you're adding a lot of, greenhouse gas into the atmosphere. Then when you harvest,
Mm.
you leave stubble behind. And living in Delhi, we've all
Oh, yeah.
seen what burning stubble does, right? Not only in terms of pollution, but also in terms of climate change.
Yes.
And then after the crops are harvested, and till the time we consume them, as they say, from the farm to the fork, 34% of food is wasted globally,
Mm.
right? And wasted food means that it decomposes,
Yes.
uh, either in our waste baskets or in the landfills or wherever it ends up. And that decomposition again leads to emission of greenhouse gases, which is carbon dioxide, methane, and other toxic gases, which are worsening the climate crisis. So overall, if you see, none of us realize that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it does a lot of damage. And I think work has started in improving the system. So there are initiatives being taken to see that the damage is reduced.
Very important. And I think not only taking the initiative, but ensuring that they are actually implemented.
That's true.
Policy in place is very good, sounds very impressive, and shows that work is being done. But unless and until that policy is implemented, where I think, there are still gaps in, various fields, I think it's only a job half done. So,
Agree. Couldn't agree more with you. And these are hard to change habits.
yeah,
Farmers who've been kind of, you know, uh, tilling the fields for generations and generations. Now, if you tell them that stop that, and there's a new method or new technology for doing it, it'll take them some time to change.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
definitely,
and
because
that's
you're hardwired in that sense.
and that's where the role, as you rightly said, of policy comes in, because you got to incentivize them
Yes, yes.
to make the change, educate them to tell them what the benefits are, uh,
Yeah, yeah.
not only in terms of climate, but also in terms of how will they personally benefit.
Absolutely, absolutely. It has to be an all-inclusive thing. You cannot expect them to change something which they don't understand and which they probably will perceive as being harmful to them. So you have to explain the whole
Absolutely.
thing.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, moving on. Tell me, what's that one fact smart people still repeat confidently that's just so wrong?
Uh, you know, many of us feel, and I'm excluding myself from the smart people's list,
Okay, all
but
right.
many people feel that our economy can grow infinitely. Our GDP can grow infinitely.
Hmm.
But at the same time, if you realize our economy is based on use of natural resources,
Of course.
right? And natural resources are limited
Yes.
because our planet is finite.
Mhm.
So you cannot have an infinite economy on a finite planet, right?
Yes.
Therefore, somewhere we need to start realizing that either we limit our ambition and say, okay, this is what the planet can afford, and therefore this is where the economy or the economic growth must stop,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or we restructure the economy, reorchestrate it in a manner that, you know, we divorce it from virgin resources,
Right. I
uh,
think
right?
that is
So I
important.
think that equation needs to be understood, you know,
Yes, and
which many
especially I
people
think
don't.
with people who have the resources. I mean, somebody who is working hard just to make, kind of, take care of their basic needs, they may not be able to do it. But people who are sitting up there, people who have the resources, the acumen, the knowledge, they should definitely take steps.
Provided many a times you let those people's ideas and voices be heard. I
Absolutely.
think that's a big
Yes,
challenge.
that is a big challenge. Absolutely. All right. So coming to your Harvard Fellowship, very impressive. So tell me, this basically focused on the circular economy. So, what's one idea from that year that changed how you think?
I'll link it to my previous answer of, you can't have a infinite economy on a finite planet. So what it really taught me, or when I was kind of digging into circular economy, that waste is the new gold,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
So far, our economy is based on a linear model. You
Hmm.
know, we take resources from the planet Earth, we put some energy into them, we make them into products, we use the products, and we dump the products,
Right.
right, as waste.
Hmm.
Now, this is not a sustainable model because, first thing, our resources are depleting, as
Yeah.
I said earlier. Second, because we are using energy over and over, uh, energy use is leading to climate change because of the emissions, right?
Right.
And third, the waste is causing pollution,
Yes.
whether it's land pollution, water pollution, air pollution. So we need to relook at the economic model and make it circular,
Hmm.
which means that the end waste, right, we must start relooking at it with new eyes,
Yeah.
right? And it can be converted back into feedstock,
Hmm.
right? That is what the concept of circular economy is
Right.
about.
Right.
And it's not only recycling, there are many other ways you could do it. And science has proven that it can be done,
Right.
right? So I think that understanding that how to bring waste back into the production cycle or the economic cycle is a great insight for everyone. And a very good example of that is nature.
Yeah.
If you see, there's no waste in nature.
Yes.
Every output is an input for something. You don't see waste created by nature.
Not at
You
all. Not at all.
so I think that's a great learning from there.
Yes, and I think again something that we need to talk about it. First of all, we need to educate, make people aware, and then as we've been talking about, have policies, but make sure those policies are implemented because that's how it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Okay, so coming back to another woman-centric question. Tell
Sure.
me, what would you tell a young woman who wants to do more than recycle and cut plastic?
Oh, I'll broaden my answer.
Mhm.
Definitely young for young women, but it really applies to everyone, all of us.
Right.
You know, yes, you're right. When we talk about climate change or pollution, we all think about plastic and recycling. But and that'll make a change, no
Hmm.
doubt. But we got to think more holistically. What will bring around uh, the kind of change that we need? And many a times we all underestimate the power in our hands.
Hmm.
You know, we all have the power of votes,
Yes.
wallets, and our voices with us.
Wow. Vote, wallet, and
Wallets
voice.
and
Oh,
voices. Um, if we use our votes judiciously and vote for people or parties who care about what we care about,
yes.
real issues, uh, then change will happen,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Because if we put responsible people, well-thinking people at the positions where they are taking decisions or representing the country at the international forums also for causes that we believe in,
Yeah.
then change will happen because politicians honestly are very smart.
Of
They know
course.
what
Of
their
course.
voters want and they will give us that. If we want 5 kg of rice every month and are happy with that, then we will get 5 kgs
Yeah.
of rice,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
If we want them to work on issues of paramount importance to us, whether it's uh, you know um climate change, or whether it's education, or whether it's employment, or whatever it is, then they know that if they have to come to power next time, they better deliver that, right?
Yes.
So I think using our votes judiciously is the biggest power, and all of us must kind of
Yeah.
use it consciously and not vote on frivolous issues of
Absolutely.
religion, caste, unproductive issues,
Yeah.
right? The second is our wallets, right? Um, our spending determines which companies will be successful and which ones will fail.
Hmm.
If we buy products uh, which are environmentally sustainable or are not deteriorating, whether it's climate or pollution or whatever, then those companies will become successful in the long run.
Right.
And the ones that are making products which are uh, not as sustainable will ultimately wither away,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Uh, if we start using our wallets accordingly, then slowly but surely change will come,
Yes.
right? And third is our voices.
Hmm.
Sometimes we don't speak out, right? If something is not happening, there are enough and more forums.
Yeah.
Something like what you're doing, a podcast, right? Something like talking to your local officers, uh, participating in a silent, a nonviolent march,
Yeah.
writing to the governor, writing to the people, speaking to the press, right? Even sitting on the dining table and discussing these things makes a difference.
Yes.
So I would strongly recommend young women and all of us need to start using our votes, wallets, and voices judiciously.
Very well said. I think this is actually, it sums up so many things
Yeah.
because, everywhere this is the problem. Either we don't vote, we spend mindlessly, we don't speak up, we love complaining.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
love to complain and, blame this one or that one. But what are you actually doing about it? I think that is very important. All right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So, moving on to your next book. So, it is called The Price of Progress. So,
Yes.
tell me in one line, what price are we not accounting for?
We are destroying our home. You know, our planet is our home.
Yes.
If you look at us individually, we all take care of our homes. We want fresh air to be there. We want water to be clean. We don't keep any kind of waste in our homes. It's not polluted. We're not kind of tinkering with the walls or digging into the ground, into the floors, right? But when it comes to our planet Earth, which is the larger home for, we're doing all this,
Yes, we are.
right? Just as we won't like to live in a house where all these things are, which is polluted, where water is bad, where, flooding is happening, and where we've dug all kind on walls and floors and everywhere else. just like we wouldn't like to live in that, or we find that that is not suitable for living, we are doing just the opposite for our planet,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes.
So the book actually, when it comes out, talks about what has been the cost of the progress we've had, right? We've all actually, we
Yeah.
lead much better lives today than our forefathers kind of lived,
Hmm.
but it's come at a cost. So the book kind of delves into what are these costs that we are. Uh,
Very interesting. Would love to read it because, yes, I think that awareness, a lot of awareness will come from there. Because, this is,
okay.
I mean, somebody needs to, again, take that initiative and talk about it. Because, we get so caught up in the mundane of life that people don't really sit down to reflect and, think about all this. So, great job. Really
Well,
looking
we'll
forward to
see.
it.
We'll see how it comes out.
It will. It will very well. It'll do very well.
Thank you.
Okay, Rajan. 60 seconds with the PM. Guaranteed action. What policy would you demand?
Would you guarantee the guaranteed action?
All right. Okay.
Yeah, but if I ever sat with anybody who was in a position of power to
Hmm.
bring around that change, I would say we would should move out of fossil fuels as quickly as possible,
Right. Right. Very
because
important.
that's like poison being put into the air.
Correct. Correct. Okay. Now tell me, you're bringing clean tech to India. So, what does the world get wrong about how that transition needs to work?
You know, uh, transition for the sake of transition will never work. You
Right.
know, if it's kind of led through technology, it'll never work.
Hmm.
It has to be led through commerce, through economics, right? Uh, because if you really see, people or individuals and companies always take decisions which are economically beneficial for them.
Yes. Yes.
If something is more expensive, even you and I, as climate literate people, will still prefer which is something which is equally good but cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because we all have to run our households, we have budgets to kind of fit within. Same thing for companies, same thing
Yeah.
for governments.
Yeah. Yeah.
So unless clean tech is made economically feasible,
Yeah.
or better rather than the traditional things we have, uh, I think it'll be a slow start. So you kind of, and I think one is that you economically, and the second thing I'd like to mention is that change happens through science,
Yeah.
uh, through economics, but more importantly, also through politics.
Of course.
So
Of
that's the combination. So
Yes.
you got to understand all three,
Yes.
right? Um, I mean, if you take the case of climate change,
Hmm.
the scientists understand the dynamics of climate change very well,
Yeah.
right? How carbon dioxide moves, where it's coming from, where it's going, everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have no clue about how influence moves, how the power structures are distributed,
Yeah.
you know, uh, and many a times they do not understand how the wealth flows, who
Yeah.
controls the wealth, right? Same thing if you look at business people, they understand the flow of wealth very well, and most likely they will understand the flow of power
Yeah.
structures very well, but rarely about science.
Yeah.
So all these three pillars need to understand each other
I
for
agree.
change to happen. you know
Absolutely. They
so I
have to
think that's
work
that's the blocking.
in tandem with each other because that's how it'll happen. Because it cannot be beneficial to one at the expense of the other or whatever. So it has to. I mean, everybody has to understand and, come out with a solution that is acceptable, workable, practical. All that has to be seen.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, Rajan. So while we've come to the end of the conversation, we have a little
Okay.
something left, which is like a rapid fire round, and it
Oh,
is
okay.
called the reveal. It's a fun kind of a
Right.
thing where I'm going to ask you some fun questions, and I want you to give me the first answer that comes to your head when I finish asking you the question. Okay?
All right. I'll
So,
try.
ready?
Yes.
All right. The first one. One word for the state of the planet now. Easy.
Terrible.
All right. Next. Tech CEO or climate entrepreneur, which felt harder or which feels harder?
Climate.
Okay.
I forgot what
Climate entrepreneur. Okay.
climate on. Yeah.
Okay. Next. The book you wish more people read. Backstage Climate or The Price of Progress?
Both.
All right. Okay, the next one. One climate habit you're still kind of sticking on to.
I still haven't given up my car.
Okay, but that's practical too. You don't need one car.
Yeah.
All right. And finally, just complete this sentence. Progress means nothing if dot dot dot. You got to fill in the blanks.
If you are not able to live comfortably, live well, and are not happy,
Yeah,
then what is progress all about?
true. Very true. So, quite an eye opener talking to you. And of course, after reading the book, also my eyes really, kind of you helped me open them, and this conversation has added to it. I think it's very, very essential for people to understand and then understand, do something about it. And like you said, we have to have the willingness because still we don't have the willingness to implement. I mean, yes, there are politicians, they will do things at the broader level, but we as individuals can also
Absolutely.
take small steps which, together can become a movement. So I think
Absolutely.
each one of us is equally responsible. So thank you so much for being on the show. I'm sure the viewers and the listeners are going to love this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sangeeta. I enjoyed the conversation.
So did
Thanks
I.
a lot.
Thank you for tuning in to the About Her show. If you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more from where that came from. Our previous guests have shared some amazing stories, so be sure to catch up on past episodes. To keep up with our inspiring conversations and to never miss an update, hit subscribe, rate, review, and share the love. Follow us on social media for some great content, and don't forget to check out our website www.aboutherbysangeeta.com for stories that resonate, inspire, and empower. Know a remarkable woman or an inspiring man blazing a trail? We'd love to hear from you. Drop us a note at web.abouther@gmail.com and let's bring their story to life on the About Her show.